Hi everyone, I'm Adam from Trade with Precision and welcome to IC Markets Market Commentary. So let's start off with the VIX. So the first thing you need to know is, especially if we move out a bit, is that currently the VIX is operating at very low levels. Long story short, it is not stressed at any point at the moment. It's leading or has a relatively calm low heartbeat. So no signs of distress there. If we have a look at the dollar index here, we can see that it is continually attempting to break outside of this range to the upside. We're not out of that range just yet. And so what I'd like to see here, ladies and gents, is a nice solid weekly candle closing a little bit higher and ideally closing above these highs. So for now, I'm going to say that this is still staying within the range. If we have a look on the daily here, we can see that overall it's finishing a little bit bullish here, but it still hasn't broken out the range. So until then, let's just treat this as range bound. If we have a look at the euro, again, we go to that weekly, we can see that we're still stuck within a range here. It's just ping-ponging around between those two key levels. And so my expectation for now this week is that it's going to continue to do the same thing. Dollar yen is very interesting to me, though. If we have a look at this from a monthly perspective, let's just get a little bit of history here. And what we can see here on the weekly time frame is that we have a nice uptrend here. We continue to finish with nice bullish candles. So the yen itself, but especially the yen crosses, euro yen, Swiss yen, quite a few of those have some very nice established trends to the upside and might be offering day traders and traders some really nice performance there, especially if you have a look at it from a monthly perspective. We've got a nice uptrend here. We've broken through strong resistance. We've got some room to the upside, and so I do expect that to continue to weaken against the dollar and weaken across the board against other currency pairs. Moving across, having a look at gold. This is a really interesting one. There's a dilemma right now. We can see that gold has pulled back into the daily moving averages, into the recent highs, and it is attempting to turn around. However, when we have a look at it from, say, a weekly perspective, we've got these very strong twin wick rejections, which is a relatively strong rejection. And also, it's very possible that we're at a junction, effectively a fork in the roads, if you will. Gold is trying to decide if it breaks the low here, it is going to attempt to have or start a bit of a correction or retracement within the weekly uptrend. But at the same time, there are daily traders and speculators who are coming in at the moment and who are attempting to turn it around where it is currently on the daily and continue upwards. So there's a bit of a conflict between the daily and the weekly, and really this week a break above the weekly high will signal that the day sort of shorter term speculators have won and it's going to head its way up. And if it breaks below the low, we would expect a deeper retracement, more likely to be a weekly and much more likely to come down potentially towards that sort of 3,800 mark. Let's have a look at silver. Something very similar is happening here as well. We're a little bit below that 20-period moving average, and the weekly correction was a lot more healthy here. It's not that far away from the moving averages. So the question simply with both gold and silver is, are the buyers going to keep it above where it is now? Are we likely to see a bit of a consolidation before it continues higher? Or will the bulls win and it will resume its trend this week? So something I'll be looking for here is a break above these highs will signal that the buyers are going to win. A break below these lows would signal that the medium term are going to see a bit of a bigger correction. Let's have a quick look at crude oil. So crude oil, interesting to me, it's had a general and does have a general longer-term downtrend. It has broken through key support levels. This is the most recent downtrend on the weekly. It's coming back up to test that level of support as resistance. It's actually testing it a second time and has produced a bearish candle here again. This may turn out to be another sell-off from here back down towards these lows here. It may still do it here. The very fact that it's retraced quite deeply might also mean that it's going to ultimately go into a bit of a range, but there's a nice bearish reaction off that level, and therefore this week we could see a follow through and see it continue to head lower. Excuse me. Here, moving on to the S&P. The weekly chart here continues to produce very similar behavior. If we look at this pullback, small bullish inside candle, and this move higher this last week, it's very similar to what we've seen here in the past, and therefore it's not unreasonable to think that we're going to continue to see the markets push higher over the coming weeks, especially as we head in towards Christmas. So that's one of the things I want to have a look at. So this daily trend at the moment, I would love to see a bit of a retest of these highs. Any kind of a pullback here would be a buying opportunity. And certainly for day traders, there could be continued 4-hour trends to the upside. So any kind of a pullback here, again, testing this level could present a buying opportunity. If we have a look at the NASDAQ, it's going to be the same thing. The markets are very bullish at the moment. We can see a really nice break of this potential level of resistance over here. We can see the market continuing higher the daily as well. And again, there's a little bit of resistance here. That what would have appeared potentially as a bit of a double top, a potential double top, ultimately failed, continued higher lows, and we see a breakout to the upside. So the markets are still bullish. If we move away from the US, we can actually see, if we have a look at the UK, we've got a very similar weekly bullish uptrend and a very strong week last week. So outside the US, the markets are looking particularly bullish. If we have a look here at the Hang Seng as well, you can see that very nice correction, small inside bullish candle, nice level of resistance, and the market is moving up from here. So again, it is not unreasonable to think that this week, if we break the high, we will continue to see the markets move higher. Let's have a look at Tesla. So again, Tesla on the daily here, very, very choppy. To get some clarity, I'm going to go to the weekly. And again, we've got an uptrend and a consolidation as the moving averages come up to it. So for now, my expectation is it will continue to range until we ultimately produce a nice bullish candle here. And then at that point, if we get a nice bullish candle here, we should see a break of that and a follow through and continuing up. On the other hand, there's a little consolidation here. If we get a bearish close, we may see a bit of a deeper correction. But for now, I expect it to continue to be choppy, leaning bullish. Nvidia, very nice, a really nice break of this level of resistance at a pullback and a retest, and a nice solid bullish candle on that level, now potentially testing that for support. And again, this week, if we see a break of that high, I would expect it to continue upwards. And let's finish with Bitcoin. Overall, excuse me, Bitcoin here holding at this level of support at the moment. Also just potentially about to break the high there. Again, this is a weekly chart. So again, if we follow through and this week we break the high here, I do expect us to attempt to work its way back up to that 120, 125 or 124,000 level. So again, there's a lot going on in the markets. The markets seem in most ways to be relatively happy, with the exception of the dollar itself. The dollar just isn't really doing very much. It's certainly not weakening actively. And there are a few trends out there with some of the weak Kiwi crosses, as well as weak CAD crosses and yen crosses. Otherwise, for the most part, the currency markets are relatively flat, but gold and silver, again, could provide some opportunities this week. And then having a look, as I said, at crude oil, the indices overall are looking very nice and bullish. I'll leave you with that. Don't forget to manage your risk sensibly. Thank you very much.